workshop. And thank you all for coming out. We appreciate you for being here. Give yourselves a hand just for showing up. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I have a co-host today, our wonderful beloved friend, Dion England. We love you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for being so welcoming always. I had to be here today and I'm so glad.
Yes. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it. But if you didn't see the interview, we're going to talk more about that interview. How many of y'all saw it? Okay, you saw it. Wonderful.
Okay, yeah. And it's on our website too, so you'll be able to, yeah, to check it out if you haven't already. But
Yes, yes. Okay, so this is 25-year anniversary for Nat Beatley Ever After. Give a round of applause.
Yes.
That's 25 years. And we're excited. We're about to bring out the Arthur. And we want you all just kind of just stand and give our hand clap of praise. And Ashley, you know we got to do our media stuff. So come forward. Get pictures and cameras and all that. Usually Danya would be the one on this. But Dinah is away at a book conference. And so Ashley's gonna be our media person, gonna take pictures and videos and all that stuff. Okay, so you ready?
I think I'm ready.
Okay, well, let's bring out, I want everyone to stand. We are gonna bring out Trisha Thomas and Stephanie. Come on out, wonderful people, give them a hand.
Wow, this is wonderful just to be in the midst. So I'm looking forward to this. I know everybody else is. I'm just standing right in the middle, make sure you're going to, I was just, I just wanted to say a little bit more about the interview that we aired on Fox 4 and how it was came about because it was so organic and by chance, actually. I, not even a week ago, was just scrolling and I came upon, yes, have a seat. I came upon Trisha's Instagram. And so I immediately clicked and followed her. Well, the next morning was the next day. I had a message from her, and I was so excited. And she mentioned that it was just a hello, so good to connect with you. I had actually made my publicist had made an effort to reach your station, and so yeah, it's just nice and pleasant to see you followed me. Well, I didn't know any of that. And it was really just by chance that I followed her. So I said, oh my, well, we have 2-3 days before she's here. Let me see we got to do something. So I was able to get one of my managers involved and we couldn't swing, World Cup's going on. So resources are thin because of that. But we managed to pull together a Zoom interview that we paired with video and, they edited it so nicely. So that's why I'm so excited about it. And I'm glad if you haven't seen it, please check that out. It's on the Fox 4 News website. But it was just so great. And it came together so organically. And I said, I'm definitely going to be there on Saturday.
Yes. And we also shared it on our Facebook page as well. So if you, just please check it out. And I love how you all connected it to, the book To Natural Hair.
Yeah.
Just loving our hair and really talking about our connection with our hair, and all that we go through. And so it's just a beautiful, beautiful interview. So thank you for doing that.
I'm just, it was a tiny part that I could play and I saw it. So you all.
Yes. So we're going to turn it over. I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie. And again, thank you for being here and doing this. We appreciate you. And go ahead and I'm going to give you can do a self-introduction.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say real quick, thank you, Dion, because I know you were just like, why is she talking to me like this? Like,
No.
thank you for contacting me. Of course, I'd love to do an interview. You're like, a what?
So it was the pleasure was all mine.
Thank you.
It was great. I'm gonna try to play it for those who haven't.
We will get to it. Welcome everybody. Welcome Trisha. Welcome to Dallas. Trisha flew in yesterday, so we welcome welcoming Trisha to Dallas and also to the Dove Bookstore. My name is Stephanie Ghostin Paul. I use she, her pronouns. I am really excited to be here. I'm a coach, a facilitator. I wear many hats. One of them is, I was just telling Trisha, a mama of two littles. So I'm squarely in the send help phase. So if you have help to send, please send it. We have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. But yes, I wear many hats. I'm also an author and a writer. But maybe the most important hat that I wear is that of a living ancestor. So I want to tell you a little bit about that and how I feel like it's connected to the work that Trisha does. I found out that Trisha used to live in Seattle, and I used to live in Portland. I lived in the whitest city in the United States, the whitest, okay? And there was this Black lady luncheon that I went to, and I sat down and I listened to this elder talk about what she wanted to focus on for the next phase of her life. And she said, for the next phase of my life, I want to focus on planting a seed for a tree under whose shade I know I will not sit. And that metaphor was so powerful to me. I thought about the shade and the tree and her planting the seed. And at the same time, I was like, do I have to wait to be an elder to be thinking about legacy? And so I started doing this exploration of what does it mean to be present to your legacy, the present, the living piece of it. I explored that through a podcast called Take Nothing When I Die, talking to people about what does it mean to be a living ancestor. I also did workshops and webinars and talked with people about what it would mean for them. And I also gathered stories of my own family on Zoom, in person, trying to piece together timelines and our lineage based on what people had said. And what I came to was like, being a living ancestor is really about being present to our inheritances. There's a lot that we have inherited from people who come before us, and there's a lot that we'll leave for people who come after us. And so when I think about Trisha's book, all of your books, when I think about Napoli Ever After, when I think about the legacy of hair and identity and family and story, for me, this conversation meshes so well with the work that I do. So I'm so excited to be here with you, Trisha, to talk about that. But I got to read her particulars. Like when you are such a prolific writer, when you have created such a cataclysmic moment in Black history, I gotta get the details right. So I'm gonna read Trisha's bio so I don't forget anything, and then we'll get into our conversation. Trisha R. Thomas is a highly acclaimed best-selling author known for her captivating storytelling and powerful character-driven narratives. In 2001, she embarked on a remarkable journey with her debut novel, Napoli Ever After, which a lot of y'all know, have seen the movie, and there's a series. We'll talk about that. Napoli Ever After solidified her place among the most influential voices in contemporary fiction. Trisha R. Thomas is also celebrated for her advocacy of diversity and inclusion within the publishing industry. She uses her platform to amplify marginalized voices and to champion underrepresented authors, striving to create a more inclusive literary landscape for future generations. In 2018, Napoli Ever After was released as an original feature film starring Sanaa Lathan, as well as other notable actors, and made history directed by the first female Saudi director, Haifa Al-Mansour. She has a number of published novels. I'll poll y'all in just a second to see how much you know. She was named a finalist for the Golden Pen Best Fiction and Best New Writer Award and the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Literature. Trisha continues to push boundaries, enchanting readers with her compelling narratives and thought-provoking explorations of the human spirit. Her works serve as a testament to the transformative power of storytelling, leaving an indelible impact on all who have the privilege of experiencing her literary creations. Hold on. Page 2. Come here. Yes. Flowers in this lifetime. We will do it. Trisha proves herself to be an unstoppable force in the world of contemporary fiction, captivating readers and inspiring writers alike. Known for her unwavering commitment to authenticity, Trisha fearlessly explores the complexity of human relationships, delving into such topics such as love, identity, family, and societal issues with a remarkable depth of insight. Her exploration of these themes, combined with her lyrical prose and engaging plotlines, has earned her a reputation as a masterful storyteller. Please, y'all, give it up for Trisha R. Thomas. Okay, Trisha. What part of the bio did you like least? Tell us what part you like the least.
No, I love it. I do. I really do. Starting out, well, when I first started writing, I had no background whatsoever in writing, and I didn't go to one of those wonderful, pricey workshops or, all those things, the MFA programs. And I had a Bachelor of Science in economics, and which I hadn't used that either. I was a dressmaker, for goodness sakes, and then I was teaching later after that. So I had no idea that I was going to be a prolific writer. But I'll accept that. I will accept that.
Thank you. Okay, so you know a little bit about the doc, you know a little bit about me, you know a little bit about Trisha. We wanted to get to know y'all just a little bit, and get some movement in the room. So if folks are okay with standing up, we want to play a little game called Keep Standing If. Y'all down to do a little icebreaker? We just want to know like who's in the room, what are y'all about, what do you know about Trisha and the books and the movie? The game goes, keep standing if. I'm gonna name something. If it applies to you, keep standing. If it doesn't, sit down. And we want to see who's left standing at the end. And they're getting a special prize, correct?
Yes.
Yes, the last person standing gets a special prize. So can we all stand? I'll stand too. Just to be with y'all, I'm gonna move around too. Okay, keep standing if you're here because you want to celebrate Trisha's 25th anniversary. Yes, you're here. Okay, yes, okay. Everybody should be standing. You're here, keep standing if you're open to sharing a hair story tonight. Okay, yeah, okay, everybody standing. Okay, keep standing if you already have a Trisha Thomas book or you plan on purchasing one tonight. Oh, okay. We're not gonna single you out. It's okay. Keep standing if you've seen the movie Nappily Ever After. Okay. Keep standing if you've read at least 2 books in the Nappily Ever After series. Oh, okay. We got some fans in the house. I love it. Okay. Keep.
I don't count.
You can count. Keep standing if you thanked yourself or your body or your hair today. Ooh, okay. Keep standing if you know how many books Trisha has published. We'll go on the honor system. Okay. Got 2 of y'all.
Oh, no.
All right. Keep standing if
You can't win.
Okay, right.
okay. Oh, we only got one person?
Yeah.
Okay, you win. Wow. Okay, what do they win, Trisha?
Gets a bag.
Okay, congratulations.
If I'm right though. Is it
13.
Oh, it's
13.
I was thinking 12.
It was 13.
You're close enough.
It was 13. Now, the trick is, can you name them all?
No.
And we'll take the bag back if you no, okay, no. No. It's okay.
I'll take the challenge.
Thank you for playing, y'all. We appreciate you. All right, let's get into our conversation. Thank you for letting us get to know you a little bit. Trisha, can you talk to us about why you wrote Nappily Ever After? Who were you writing to?
I was writing to myself, honestly. I felt like I was going through my own healing. I considered it my catharsis. I mean, I wanted to write. And when I started writing, that's when I knew this is a lot. I have a lot to unpack here. But the funny thing is, when I first started writing, this new career, I was trying to write mysteries and thrillers. And that wasn't really working out. I would start a story, stop a story, start, stop. And so I went to one of those big events in Washington, D.C., and I'm sitting at the table with, like, I think John Grisham and Brad Metzler, and, I was in the thriller category. But one of the ladies that got up at the event that was speaking, she was from the Appalachians. And the thing that stuck out to me was she's like, just write what you know. It's not complicated. Just write what you know. And I was like, that's me. I know hair, and it doesn't have to be a murder, a thriller. It's like, I have hair trauma and all of this that I'm dealing with and have dealt with. And I mean, I could not wait to get home to start writing what I knew. And then I did not know that I would be in tears half the time I was writing. But it was amazing. I mean, that was what happened. It was like hair, black hair, growing up with this hair in a household where my mother did not know what to do and took me in to get my hair straightened with chemicals when I was 3 years old. And so it was a lot. And so when I started writing it, I was like, I am writing what I know. I hope no one hates me for this, but this story will be told. And so that was how it was born.
Yeah, you talked about Black hair trauma in particular. And for a lot of us, for our history or our lineage or our timelines, we don't talk about certain things. Like our moms, our grandmothers, our families will say, oh, that subject we don't talk about. You don't put your business out there. In mixed company, we're not going to talk about this. So bringing up the topic of Black hair and putting it in a book and publishing it was pretty bold. You broke a rule, a Black rule, when you published that book. Tell us about the process of finding the permission to do that. You talked a little bit about there's a lot of tears. What helped you move through and give yourself permission to broach the subject?
Writing is a very lonely process. If you all know, I bet there's some writers in here. Yes, it's a quiet process. And so I was in the room with ancestors and with immediate friends and family, just knowing their stories. And so, when you say, who are you writing for? Myself. And, I felt them saying, it's okay. It's your story to tell. And it's, I think, one of those things where some people are going to be like, why did you put your business out there, or our business? And I did get that a lot after it was published, the emails and some such things that I read that were not that kind. But I was saying to myself, if not me, who and when is enough. And so that was pretty much my priority, is to answer that call that, are we gonna keep sending our little girls into that chair? And I called it the chair for a reason, because it felt like a sentence, a life sentence. And that was one of the things that I, put into the book. And, and I just couldn't pull it back. I wanted some freedom of choice, at least. Yeah. It's like it's not like getting your ears pierced, it's a process that doesn't end. Yeah. And so that was part of the story.
Yeah, it sounds like you just kept going and you had support, you had ancestors, and probably as much as there was resistance, you also had people who were happy that you put the story out there.
I don't know about that.
Nobody?
I don't know about happy. I remember asking my mother, what she thought, and she's just like, doesn't bother me. I don't care. I said, I figured that. I figured that you didn't have any idea how this was affecting me or affecting me. And why would you do it if you thought it was affecting me? No mother thinks they're hurting their child with, the process, the chair. I mean, you're trying to make her life easier so it doesn't hurt when you comb her hair and all of these things. But I think the long-term process is more painful than, getting a little hair tug, and I also don't think that the hair tug is necessary either. And now we have so many good products. I mean, my daughter gave me something called Hair Slip, and I could not believe how I'm like, whoa. I just comb through my hair, and I usually takes me like 2 hours to comb through my hair. And I sprayed that stuff, and I was like, God, what miracle work is this? What devil's witchcraft? It's like, I hope this isn't a chemical. But, I try to read the ingredients, but it looked good. But yeah, it's like those days I'm so glad those days have eased our burden a lot. But yeah, so my mother thought she was really giving me a help, a blessing, and the burn and the time lost, like Maxine Waters reclaiming my time. It was a lot of time spent in that chair.
Yeah. Someone wrote a piece a couple years ago that talked about us being in an abusive relationship with our hairdressers, spending all this time, and other people getting taken before you. You got chemicals in your head is burning. You leave the salon with sores on your head. And at the same time, the hair salon being a third space for people to gather and be with each other and promote community, but also having that, how do we break up with the abusive relationship we have with our
That's a funny way. I mean, not funny, but that is very true. I mean, it does feel like a relationship, that is good for you, but not good for you. And so, when I first put this out in the world, it was really a lot of pages, and it just kept getting refined and refined and refined. But I noticed the people that were writing me back, the rejection letters were just saying, it just sounds like this isn't, fun. It's not. It wasn't fun. It gradually got funny, but I did start out with a lot of the trauma. And I did realize, with the gatekeepers, they don't want to hear about the harshness in stories. It's even worse now. I mean, really, everything has to be fun. And so I took a lot of care in trying to explain how these things happen without blame, without pointing the finger and talking about trying to take out the bitter parts of the fruit. I mean, it's still fruit. And the joining of the minds and the fellowship at the salon, I mean, that's priceless. It really is. But do we need 4 hours, 5, 6 sometimes?
It's usually longer than that.
Yeah, so I just put it in as delicately as possible. And when they went, I know we're not talking about the movie yet, but when they went to go do the film, they left it out. They left out the childhood trauma as far as the salon. And I think, I had my thoughts on, the same way they didn't want it there is like they even wanted even less on film. And so I kind of appreciative because I didn't want any more emails. I didn't want any emails writing me about, this thing we have that should be private, And so, it's like they say, well, some of my best friends are hairstylists. It's true. I had absolutely nothing against hairstylists. And I never wanted anyone to think I did, but there was this kind of prevailing thought that I was anti, stylist, salon, and that is the furthest from the truth. I go if I found someplace that get me out of there an hour and a half. That's my limit.
One of the scenes, we can talk about the movie too. But one of the scenes that is in the book and also is in the movie is the main character cutting all of her hair off. I don't think I'm giving spoilers by saying that. I think everybody knows she cut her hair. She went through something, and a lot of what you're speaking about is the ways that our hair is tied to identity. And so it wasn't just a cutting of her hair; she was shedding. She was moving through something. Um, what were you saying about what change actually costs, given that she had to figure out how to define herself without the things and the comforts of what used to define her? Talk to us a little bit about change and its impact.
That's the reason I wanted her to have a complete shave on her head. In the book, she has a complete, not a cut, or a different hairstyle. I wanted it completely gone because there was no alternative. There was no, she could have put on a wig, but that wasn't the goal. I mean, she wanted to start over. And I think that that's what happens when you go completely down to the root. You have no choice. And you change because you absolutely have no choice. Your decisions aren't even, it's written as it is written, so it is written. And so I really wanted that cleansing for her, that she wasn't going to go back to anything. She wasn't going to go back to her boyfriend who brought her a puppy instead of her engagement ring, or the job that was taking advantage of her. It just proliferated in everything. So she had no choice but to move forward, new growth. And so, that was the symbolism for that.
Yeah. Let's talk about that boyfriend. Can we get into that? So again, there's some parallels in the book and the movie. In the book, when he left her for someone who had long, straight hair. That didn't necessarily happen in the movie, and we can talk a little bit about that. But what he did was to send a message. Like, there is a way that you are, and there's a way that the someone I want to be with is. That message is not new. When we think about our identities and our hair, we as Black women have been navigating the male gaze for a long time. Our partners, our family members, strangers. So I'm wondering what you want readers to understand about the role that men individually, but also patriarchy as a system plays in this. Again, as men, as individual partners and family members who might say a comment, or what they are upholding as they think about who's attractive and who's feminine and who deserves partnership.
What's the question?
I usually ask about 3, so let me get it down to one. What do you want us to understand about the role that men and patriarchy play in identity in our hair and in these decisions?
We talked about, the gaze. And so, I mean, the GAZE gaze, the male gaze. And it really is one of those things that I put into the story because it's true, like the women that I would hear from kept their hair because their husband liked it or their boyfriend liked it, or they wore this weave or wig because their boyfriend liked it. And they would say to me, once we broke up, I cut it all off and I just felt so free. And so even when I was, going through my research and doing all of this stuff, I was like, this is the simplest answer. We have our hair because men like it. Or we go through all of this because men like it. But there's another part where we're doing it for women, for ourselves, and to be seen as feminine, to be the prettiest one in the room, to be this or to be that. And it was a delicate, balance. I really didn't want to make the book totally his fault. But then again, It was probably like 60-40 that, that she kept the hair and she kept up the upkeep and she kept up the work, for him to be, approval, to get his approval, the gaze. And so, it was just a delicate thing because I didn't want, again, to hurt anyone's feelings, to make anyone feel like, well, you're shallow, you're just doing this to keep your man happy. Well, a duck is a duck and birds fly and things, some things are just true. And so it was just nothing I could do about it. It just came flowing out of my fingertips. I had to had to make this relationship the crux of, everything that she was, because that's what she was taught. Her mother taught her with the right hair, you get the right career and you definitely get the right guy. You're going to marry a doctor and things will go on from there. And so it was just inevitable. And I'm sorry I'm dancing around it because it's still hard for me to say. But, because everyone tries to act like, no, I don't wear my hair for my man. Liar. Liar. So it's like one of those things I try not to like just talk about too much, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And but who cares why you do it, as long as when you're happy and when you discover that you want to be happy for yourself, wear it the way you want to wear it. Do what you want to do. Blonde, purple, short, you know what I mean? You do what you want to do. But, when you're young, you have your daughter there, being attracted, you go through the peacock phase. You don't want to tell them, like, don't wear your hair like that for him. Wear it for yourself. It's like, no one listens.
You spoke to also her mother. So sometimes these are things that folks are doing for other folks, but they're also things that we internalize. And even if we're not with a partner, we'll still do the thing.
Yeah.
And that was really prominent in the movie, almost more so than her boyfriend. Her mom was the one who was getting on her about everything. It was about perfection. It was about how you present yourself. It was about your clothes. And that was passed down to the mom too. So we talk about legacy and what was inherited and what she was breaking free from. It came through in the book as well as the movie, how to move through and pass some of what she had ingested.
I really did want to touch on that in the story because I do believe that our mothers are trying to keep us safe, and our hair is the first offender of, the job, school, the boyfriend. If you have that safety net of your hair looking fly, you look good, what else, what can go wrong, because my hair looks good. And so, that is passed down. It's been going on forever, from grandmother to grandmother, mother to mother. It's the protection that they think they're giving us, not to send you out in the world looking crazy. And that's your protection from being bullied and being, or not getting the job, and it's real. There is no doubt that, a job interview is going to judge you on your hair. It's just the way it is. It doesn't matter if it's one of our white friends doing the interview or, an ancestor. It doesn't matter. They're going to judge you on your hair, and that's our parents trying to teach you this is what's going to happen out in that world, whether you like it or not. Whether they say it or not, if this is just what's being passed down. And again, like I said, these are the things that just nothing I could do about. It's just all I could do is shine a light on it, tell the story as I saw it and how I felt it growing up.
Yeah.
I mean, Venus.
Not me.
Not
Venus. /Violet. Let's talk about, can we get into the word nappy? Since we're talking about this inheritance and what people um, are kind of like moving through. And when we had our prep call, you talked about natural hair and even the word nappy going through cycles. There are words that people reclaim. There are words that people say, it used to mean this, but now we mean this. It used to be derogatory. Now it's empowering. Um, 25 years ago, when you first published the book with this title, you navigated a lot of resistance to that word, nappy, and Napoli as the play on words. Can you talk about that wound that we have around nappy and where you think we are today in that cycle? So I'm sure 25 years ago when it came out, there was a particular response. Where are we today?
I think we've come a long, long way, and I do take credit for that. I'm not gonna lie.
You should.
I do. I really do because I did get a lot of resistance. Like, why would you ever try to use that word in a positive way? And I still see little notes, derogatory term like that. And I meant, absolutely meant, my intention was to take the sting out of the word nappy because it was so violently used on children and boys and girls, adults. And it was like a sword. It was a very sharp knife. And I just, was determined to make it soft. And sure enough, slowly but surely, nappy to be happy. And, I'm seeing it here and I'm seeing it there. I'm seeing little girls' books and, picture books and things like that. And it just kept slowly coming around and it just felt really good. It really, really felt good to know that the word was losing its teeth because it's such a small word to be so violent, And I just thought at the time when I was teaching middle school and the kids were just slinging it around and to each other and giving that permission to anyone around them watching to use it too. And I just was like lumpy throat, just very hurtful. And I just never forgot it. It's like we're still doing this. I went through this, 20 years ago, and you guys are still doing it. What's it gonna take? And so I really do feel proud that the word has been taken down a notch, and anyone that uses it, it almost feels outdated. Like, what are you, 80? But it's like the kids don't use it as often. I know they still know it because if they hear it at home, it's coming down the pipe, but I do feel proud that it's not as bad as it was. I do.
We can talk a little bit about the differences between the book and the movie. I think there might be some true fans out there who are not happy about what was adapted, what was changed. From your perspective, how did the movie reflect the book well? And where were some areas where you felt like the story or the message or the impact was diluted because of the changes that they made?
Oh, I love the movie so much. And, besides Violet to Venus, Venus to Violet, there wasn't, anything I disagreed with at all. I mean, they took so much of the story and translated it into movement, as you do with a film, like as you have to do. And then there were a lot of scenes that they took and gave them different settings. Like they used all the dialogue, which I was in the theater like, whoa, how is that possible? You used all my words, but if they're coming out someone else's mouth, like the mother had said something to Venus about, the puzzle pieces, we either fit or we don't. And so they had, the taxi driver saying it to Venus, or she's in the back seat drunk or something. But it's like every place that they use, these moments that I created in the book, they just made these moments on film in a different way. So I really appreciate it. And I felt like again, prolific, because I was thinking how, great that they took they could have changed everything, but they stuck to the dialogue, they stuck to the story. Yeah, that's great.
Trisha recently wrote an Essence article, kind of talking about the 25-year anniversary and where you were and where you are now. And you said in that you hope there's a generation that can simply show up without having to prove that they are enough. What, in your opinion, would need to be true, whether that's in our culture or in families, in the stories that we tell, for that generation to actually exist and be able to do that?
That was my wish, and I wrote that, is that we could be enough as we are and show up and not make it this long-term planning. When we go on vacation, we've got to get grades. When we go, anywhere or do anything, it's not a simple process. We can't just walk out the door and our children aren't just innately happy to be where they are. They have to learn through such a long process to love their hair and to love who they are and to just walk out the door. And so that will always be my wish. And I don't know what, it will take. I feel like we're getting really close because it is generational. But, that is my wish, is that we can just show up and be enough as ourselves. However that comes up, if it takes 20 minutes to walk out the door and when we get there, we're happy and that's it, versus 2 hours, and being afraid, is it enough? So, yeah, that was one of the things I really put a lot of thought into that article. And I wish 2 million people read it, but, I wish 2 million people read the book, but, it's just one of those things, if that person read it and they felt anything, that I was grateful,
Talk to us. I mean, when I say prolific writer, I mean prolific. 13 books, a book turned into a movie, prolific. Talk to us a little bit about your other books and projects. What are you most proud of that you've done recently? And what can we expect to see from you in the near future?
Well, I'm so proud of everything I write. I mean, I pour myself into everything, but Natalie Ever After really is the book that everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, I know who you are. But I also write under another name, Toni Meyer. So it's actually like 15 books, but those two are under different names. You probably they wouldn't come up, but they're romantic comedy type stories, and I'm not funny. I'm just kidding. I am very funny.
You got a lot of laughs
I
today.
am funny. But when I first wrote Happily Ever After and I went on tour, I was at this festival and all of the other authors were reading from their books and they were just so poignant and everyone was like, oh yes, and and I was just like, well, I'm gonna find a place in here and I'm gonna read it out loud. And this is the part where this happens to Venus and she's really sad and this is gonna really affect them. And so I'm up there reading, they're all like, they're all cracking up. I'm just like, oh, I cannot. I meant for you guys to cry. So, but yeah, I think I have what they call dry wit or dry humor or something. But yeah, when I wrote What Passes as Love, I sent it to my agent. And it's about enslavement. It's in 1860. And she was just like, did you mean for this to be funny? I'm like, no, it's not funny. This is no laughing matter. She's like, there's a lot of funny parts in there. I was like, well, then good. That just has to be what it is, because we didn't make it 250, 300, 400 years in tears. At some point, there was some joy, and we were laughing at something. And so, Because there had to be some smiling somewhere. We would not be here if there were no joy. So that's my answer. Oh, wait, and my current,
what are you,
I'm working on the Diane Carroll story, and it's called The Charmed One. And she is my central main amazing character, and it starts when she's a little girl growing up in Harlem, and it goes all the way until 1978-ish, where she's accused of, hiring a hitman to kill her husband. So, but yeah,
there's that humor.
the
Dry humor.
It is so good. So I'm very proud of it. I can't wait for it to come out.
We'll be looking
That she
for
didn't do it.
I think we are ready to take some questions. First of all, let's give Trisha another hand. Thank you so much for your stories. Do folks have any questions that they want to ask? We'll do a little Q&A.
Oh,
You need both. We'll pass it down.
anybody?
Yeah, you can let her keep her.
Yeah, I don't make this.
Oh, okay. You need it too.
I don't need
Because you have to navigate the questions.
Right.
Well, not a question, but something you want to share, like your,
I just want to share about the word nappy.
ooh,
Because like you said, it was such a harmful word. And I know Mother and I, we go back and forth with this.
We could.
Yeah, the word. So, yeah, and so when you came up with the title Napoli Ever After, I know she cringed on that, but how are you dealing with it now?
I understood where she was going with it, but I was a hairdresser
Mm.
and an instructor,
Mm.
and I was
I was in a mixed school. So a lot of times when you hear the word nappy, it does have a negative connotation. And I would not let them use it in my classroom, and my kids didn't use it at home. It's just like the N word. You teach it out of the system. And so it's coming back as an endearment, which still makes people cringe. But that was just me. And as a hairdresser, I've seen how so many women hated their hair. And how they felt prized to be straight. They wouldn't even let any new growth come in. And I had people that asked me, like when you said you were 3 years old, they would come in to get their baby's processed. I would not process a baby's hair. I got told off a few times, but I didn't care. But 3 years old, 2 years old, they would come and bring a baby in to get a process. And I said, I have adults that can't handle this. Why would you put a baby through? And you'd be surprised how many women did that because they didn't want to fool with the hair
I
thing.
would not be surprised.
So the hair thing is a very serious thing in our culture. As a matter of fact, 35 years ago, I started wearing locks. And when I started wearing locks, my kids had to deal with that because there were hardly anybody wearing locks. And I got more flack from the African American culture because it was not a popular thing to do. And
it's okay now.
okay. But I'm just saying back 35 years ago, my baby came home from school and they said, Mom, he was in the kindergarten. He said, Mama, they're talking about your hair. And I said, you tell them this is my hair and I can wear it the way I want to. And I had older women, since I was a hairdresser, I had older hairstylists come to me and tell me, you set the culture back about 50 years. And I said, if the culture was set back because of my hair, you never went anywhere. So,
I used to go home and write down, like you, and write down little things people said to me because I thought it was so funny. I thought it was so funny. This one girl walked up to me and said, "Oh my God, you're light skinned, green eyes. Your hair just can't be that bad." Because I had locks, right? And she said, "That just can't be your hair." I said, "Well, you want to pull it? I might hit you, but it's my hair." But she said to me, "You're light skinned with green eyes. Your hair couldn't be that bad." What? You know, I could tell you some stories about hair too, on the other side. But that's just, she made me say it because she knows that makes me, because I've seen both sides. So yeah,
The point being that we're glad you took the teeth out of it. Some teeth, not all.
Some teeth.
something.
Some teeth.
And she looked at me because, I just totally X'd it out of
It should be. It
the
absolutely
Webster
should be.
Dictionary. But I understand where you were going with it, and it made sense. But like you said, some people don't get it. And when you get your feedback, they don't get where you were going with it.
Well, they hadn't read the book at all. It was just the word. And
Right, and that would keep them from reading it.
right.
And you have to read it to understand where you're going with it. You have to look at the movie to understand you're going with it. And I cringe sometimes, but I understood where you were going with it.
I had an experience or two where I would show up in a forum and the platform and and they would wait till they got up to the podium, the book signing area. Like, what do you even know about nappy? Because of my skin tone, I would assume. And I said, I know everything you do and more. Absolutely. I know plenty about nappy. There's nothing I don't know about nappy. And that is why I wrote the book. And, but I had my experiences. Oh my gosh, when, it was announced that Halle Berry had bought the rights to it. Oh, that was very traumatizing because not only what do you know about nappy, but what does Halle Berry know about nappy? And I said, I'm sure she knows a thing or two in her own, texture and in her own world because she had a white mother. And it wouldn't matter, 4C, 4A, 3B, she was nappy. And so, we all have our degrees of our hair textures and how that affects us and where it affects us. It definitely depends on what area you grew up in and who you grew up around. And so I honestly, having taught for a while, got tired of the kids, measuring each other on this pecking order of who had the better hair and what that afforded them. And so, it will never end, but I'm definitely proud to say it's ending. And it's in a constant flux, a constant cycle. Yeah. But hair acceptance, that's all it's about. It doesn't even matter. I've met people with the softest, loosest curls in the world who straighten their hair to an inch of their life because it still isn't enough. And so, it's relative. What nappy is relative. I've heard, people use it that are completely not black and has nothing to do with anything except it's not straight. And so 80% of the world doesn't have straight hair.
That's great.
So we're all
It's all flipped.
yeah topsy-turvy on that. So.
Okay, got a question.
Okay, when you're writing, when do you come up with your titles? I love all of your books, but I was very annoyed by what I like to you. Because I'm like, it doesn't go with the series. Why is the title different from everyone else's?
You know why? Because I was afraid to use nappy.
Number two.
Yeah. I had been like beaten straight, man. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do that again. But let me tell you, the publisher was like, we can't have that. No, you need a Napoli title, and it must say Napoli. And so.
That's funny, straight.
Good question, though. I noticed that too.
That's why I don't even know.
It's the aesthetics. It's like it changed.
Congratulations again on all of your success and continued endeavors. You touched on it there, and we also talked about it a little in the interview, but it was first Halle Berry who noticed the book and optioned the rights to it for film, but somehow it ended up with Sanaa Lathan. Can you talk more about that process and how that transpired?
It was a long process, a very long process. Halle Berry and Universal Pictures had the rights for 10 years, a long time. And the contract, I think the contract actually said 8 years, but I was being quiet and I was being nice. And then I just got to the point where I was like, you know, hello, does anyone remember me? I'd like my rights back. And right when all papers were about to be signed, they're like, we have another party that's interested. Like, don't do anything, don't do anything. And so that party was this party of Sanaa Lathan's group. Same producer at Universal, but a whole new group. As you can imagine, in 10 years, people turn over. So they got a whole new group of people, a Black female producer that the first thing she wanted was Sanaa Lathan. The first person that she wanted to be involved with Sanaa Lathan. I think she only talked to like one other actress, and I don't remember. I feel like it was Issa Rae, but I'm not sure. But they put their team together and they moved so fast. I mean, it was like for those long 10 years that I was waiting, I think another 2 or 3 they were just doing production type, trying to get the money, because with Black films, of course, money is a lot tighter. And so, everybody has to work on a smaller budget. But they, when it was with Halle Berry and Universal, I think they had like 100 million. It was a $70 million budget. Now, as things went on and as we know, politics and things changed, that budget, I think the budget went down to like 8 million. So that's what they were working with for the Netflix movie. And Sanaa, I think, really, took a lesser amount because she just loved the story. She loved the story. And she had already read the book a long time back. And so she was a big fan of, the story and what it meant. And that's why she, really wanted to shave her hair herself for the film. She didn't want to wear a prosthetic. She wanted to shave it on air.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Yeah, it was.
Do you foresee any other film projects from any of your other works?
Everything gets optioned. Everything gets optioned, and you just have to sit and just wait. There's not a lot you can do besides call and harass them. It's like I can't threaten anybody.
Yeah.
It's like 4 producers that do our movies in the whole universe, and they're all busy. So it's not like it's like one at a time. But everything I write pretty much gets that first look. It's a lot. I mean, you hear all the stories that they say are optioned, but it just takes forever, and it's like a maybe 2% rate that it actually happens. So I was proud that mine actually made it through.
Rightfully so.
And we got one behind you.
Hello, congratulations again.
Hi, I just added your story to my story.
I wanted to know, was there a moment when you almost gave up on this story, and what kept you going?
I never gave up. At the time when I was writing, self-publishing was just starting. And so I was like, if no one picks it up, I'm gonna publish it myself. I had a cover, I had everything, I was ready. And then, all of a sudden my agent said that someone was interested and, well, first of all, it's hard to get an agent. So that happened. I hadn't even had an agent. I think it took me like 2 years to get an agent. But yeah, I was ready to self-publish. So it was like, it wasn't gonna go away. I wasn't gonna tuck it away and wait for, some heaven to descend and open up. I was definitely gonna publish it myself.
Good question. Any other questions? No?
Well, alrighty.
You have any other closing remarks or anything you want to make before we close it out and do the book signings?
I don't have any closing remarks. I think Trisha might, I think the last thing, I asked as part of our icebreaker was about folks who wanted to share their hair story. Obviously, you've been sharing lots of your hair story throughout our time tonight. Your hair story is in this book, these books. But was there any aspect of your hair story that you want to share to close us out, knowing that individuals might want to share their hair story with you when you do their signing?
I definitely left it all on the field. But I think it's a constant, we're constantly evolving. Our hair is constantly changing. If I had known even that now, now I'm going to be like gray, my hair's all gray, and that this is now my Napoli ever after. It's like everything has a new cycle and, another expectation. Oh, my mom still dyes her hair. She's 88. She goes in, she gets it dyed, and she puts a wig on. And, and I thought, I know. I am not going to do that. I'm going to just ride this baby out and see what happens. But it's just everything has an expectation. And, and that's just the way it is. And it should be fun. Aging should be fun. And so I'm just having fun.
We love it. Thank you so much, Trisha. I think we are going to move to book signing. So if you have a book, if you brought a book, great. If you want to purchase one, we have books. And if there's a story or something you want to share with Trisha, please do. I love that we are here to celebrate this 25-year anniversary. And I think part of it is throughout the day and in your time here, we want to make sure we give you your flowers so you get to hear the impact. You have flowers and you get to hear the impact that this book has had on people. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, you did an outstanding job.
Yes,
Awesome.
Stephanie.
Stephanie is the bomb.com. Wonderful. I love your questions. They were so in-depth. You just so thorough. I mean, it was great. Thank you.
And shout out to Jalen for referring. Jalen.
Now Jalen knows I love her. Thank you, Jalen and Zion.
And Zion.
That's her baby. Okay, well, we're going to start our book signing. So we're going to, book blitz, book club.
Yes, ma'am.
Where's the leader of the or president? Is she here? Come. Y'all, we have a book club that just dropped in.
Oh my God.
They included us on their book tour today. Yay! We love book clubs. Call your name and leave about how long y'all been in
Oh, God.
existence?
On the spot.
Take them to a-
Right. No.
This is where you know you're on camera. Go ahead, right?
Okay. Hi, guys. I see all you beautiful black ladies in here. My name's Chris. I run the book club, Book Bliss Book Club. We're out of Dallas mostly, but we're virtual, so we have people from all over. And we're just on a little book tour today with Miss Carrie with IC Dallas Tours. Yeah,
Okay, well, thank you for.
Not a little big book tour, big book tour.
Yes, yes. Well, again, thank you for including us on your book tour, dear. Okay, oh, what you gonna gift you? We're gonna gift you books. It's coming. All right, well, thank you, and make sure you get signed.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Katrina, I'm sorry. Y'all, make sure you come to the Doc Bookshop. Ashley about ready to close this out. Oh, she's selling. I need someone else. Nyla, come press the button for me in a minute. Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. Please come to the Doc Bookshop. We will have signed copies available for you. We appreciate you, and you all have a wonderful day.
We're gonna do a toast to her 25 years.